Hey there, we are officially live in the studio. I've got a slightly different reconfiguration going on here. And you know what? Due to that, the microphone is way over. So hopefully the mic quality will be okay. Welcome, come on in. This is Brene Flanoy getting ready to use a few little Dollar Tree watercolors. Let me see if we can get a better lit image. Some Dollar Tree watercolors to do a cute little ice cream cone. How you doing today? Come on in here. Matter of fact, I just made sure that you could download this and paint with me. There's some other things in there that you can paint as well if you have some other ideas of some fun summertime paintings. Let me know. Now I'm gonna put these spectacles on in here. Now we're doing things behind the scenes, and I'm super excited about it. I am hoping that this is a good view for you. Let me make sure that the light is decent. I think we're good. So let me grab my water. And I'm hoping I'm live everywhere. I may have to stop as usual and show and share. Okay, so I've got my little bit of water here. The only thing I don't have right now are my napkins, and of course I threw those out. So I'm going to use a tissue, and I'm going to use two softer bristle brushes. This is not the norm that I would normally put in my art kit, but they're the same size. These are a little bit softer. Let me reach for a couple of tissues right here. I was hoping I had a couple of napkins, and I do just off camera. So I am just going to roll this up. I have it right here. Let me see if you can see my water right here. Okay, so it's right next to me. So I'm going to move you in a little bit closer, angle you down a little bit. Hopefully, let me see, is this view going to be pretty good? Okay, so I'm hoping you'll get a slightly different view, but I think I'm going to blow up this view a little bit here. Let's see if I can do that. I think so. I think that's the best view we're going to get. Okay, I do believe so. I wonder if I have to angle it down a slightly different way for you. But I want you to get a good view. I think I'm going to take this light here. Are they going to cooperate? Come on over here. I'm going to take this light and bring this over a little bit. So like I said, the configurations are a little bit different, but they're not too bad. I'm hoping that you are well. Man, it's been a while since I've actually painted at the table from this direction. You know, what do they say? What's old is new again. I'm trying to make sure that you're getting a good view. Is this going to be upside down of the canvas? That will be, won't it? So I guess I need to angle you in this way, y'all. Well, I guess you're going to get a side view like this, because we would much rather you be right here and join us and not have this fall off the table. Well, let's begin. I hope that you had a good week. Now, as usual, you may not see me, so I better come up on canvas. I like to make sure I wet my brushes, and then I'm going to wet the paint. I like to make sure that my brushes are clean, and this is just how I teach it in my art room. And I don't know, maybe I didn't do an official. Now I'm just dabbing this on, but sometimes I like to use a spray bottle. Okay, so I like to just make sure the water is hydrated, and sometimes I'll just take another little dab and go at it again, just so that the watercolors are starting to get hydrated so we could use them. So right now I could also take a spray bottle and spritz it Is that over here? Yep, here it is. You know, use what you have. And in the classroom, I don't have the spray bottles, but I may get them because they're so helpful. So I'm going to just off camera so I don't shoot my computer here. Just lightly mist. All right. So let's keep that going. And you know what? I didn't share. Let me make sure we're good over here in Facebook land. Let me refresh that. Because I shared that I was going on at 1 and I thought my lights were plugged in and I'm running around trying to turn them on and realize that because I'm moving everything around again, realize that nope, sadly they were not. So let me share this. I guess I'll share that to my story and I'll share the live to my public page on the Paint Pops and I'll share it to my group. And if you're not part of my Paint Party Lovers Tips for New Painters group, that's a free group. You can join that, no charge. Let me post that in there. But if you'd like to join my membership, right now there's a waiting list that you can go to thepaintedpose.com and get on the wait list so that you'll know when we open up again. And that is going to be the Canvas Club. Okay, so I am going to my last page here just to make sure that I have shared out, guys. So we're going to get in here. We're going to paint real fast, real good. I hope you got something to paint. And like I said, go to thepaintedpose.com/download. And there's some other things in the folder, but this is there for you to paint. Okay. So I hope you can join me. You can join me with your crayons, colored pencils, even if you just have a regular ballpoint pen just to sketch, you can do that as well. All right, so the Painted Pose, we're live here. Let's make sure, let's see, I'm gonna share to my story. All right, and I think what I'm going to do is share as myself. And then that's gonna be it. I may need a slightly larger brush. So let me reach back up over here and get one. This one is just going to be a little bit larger because we have a larger area. Now you can do the background if you want. You don't have to, but sometimes that tells a more complete story. All right. My last 2 shares, share to my story and then share to my public page. All right, so let's get on down to it. We're going to close all of this business out so that we can focus on our ice cream. Okay, hopefully now you have had a chance to go to the website, download that, print that off so that you can rock with me. And if, like I said, if you don't have paint, this is Dollar Tree paint. Not the highest quality, not the worst paint I've ever worked with. So if you don't have paint right now, that's fine. Get your crayons out. You can print this off and color with me. Okay. So I already have wet these 2 brushes, but I have a nice large area, so I want one that's a little bit larger. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am wetting my brush, and I just dab it along the bottom. Okay, that makes sure that the moisture gets in between the bristle hairs, and I'm just going to dab some of that out. Now what I like to do wet on wet. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go along this outline here. I'm going to go in here and get a little bit more water. Now you can make this any flavor that you want. I don't know what flavor I want. It could stay vanilla if you want. Then you really wouldn't have to color it in too much. But I think what I'm going to do, just making sure this is good and wet here. All right, I am going to go ahead, just get like a little corner. I don't know if you see that, a small little corner of paint, and that's starting to color it. I'm going to go back in there and get another little small corner of paint. I'm going to go in and get just a dab more so it's not too wet, too red rather. All right, so we are just doing a little bit of wet on wet. Once again, this is available if you go to join my newsletter. And speaking of which, I need to get some news out here. Join, you could print this off and then you can paint. But like I said, even if you don't have any paints, this is Dollar Tree watercolor paints. If you don't have any paints, you can grab your crayons. All right, so we've got that painted a little bit. Maybe I'll add a little bit more because we can. All right, so we're just adding a little bit of red there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean my brush off. I'm going to go in here just because we have it. I'm going to add a little bit of white. Just because we can. And we don't need it because the watercolor and the transparency of the watercolor onto the paper, you know, the paper is its own white. Let me make sure let me post hello, because sometimes I think that if I make the first comment somebody said, and I might be able to see if anybody else is commenting. All right, so there we go. It went off to, uh-oh, it's not showing on LinkedIn, so I don't know about that. All right, so now, I don't know if you remember how to make brown. I like to start off with a little bit of orange and then add a little bit of black. But if you already have brown, use it. So I'm going to do wet on wet again. So I'm wetting my paper. And I'm just going right up to the lines. And it doesn't have to be super wet. I'm going to use a little bit of orange. Okay. And I'm just moving quickly. Of course, you could take your time. A little bit of orange and just a smidge of black. Now see, I need to be off to the side because I know black is kind of strong. Just a smidge. Well, that's a lot. Let me go ahead and get a little bit more orange. Okay. All right. I don't know if you can see that turning brown. Of course not. Not with my light quality today. Let's see if we can shine this over here a little bit. See if you can see that that's turning brown. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to have the light coming from this direction. So from left to right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here and make this shadow right up underneath here, make this more three-dimensional. Whoops. Oh, now see, we made a little bit of a mistake. Let's see if we can clean this up. I immediately put some water over there to try to wipe it up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Let me see if I can bring you in just a little bit closer. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. All right. Oh, I wish I could clamp this up here. Okay, so we already have our brown. And what I'm doing, I'm adding a little bit of shading over here. Okay. I'm going right up underneath here because this is a nice big scoop of ice cream. I don't know if you see that shading starting to happen. Oh, that's a little bit too much, y'all. That shading starting to happen because we don't want it to be too dark. Okay. Oops. Might as well since we have it right there. Getting just a little corner of this red here. Maybe need a little bit more. I don't want to pick up too much. So I think I've got plenty on here now just to kind of start to give it a little bit of three-dimensionality. Now, Dollar Tree watercolors, they don't have a lot of paint in them, okay? Now, I took it to the Boys and Girls Club just to let them know you can use pretty much any materials that are out there. They don't always have to be expensive and of the highest quality. But here, the quality is not too bad, but you're not going to get any quantity. These tins here are really good if you're doing like a small sketchbook or something. So I don't know if you see that I'm slowly but surely making this look three-dimensional like a dome. And I'm going to put this other light down so that I can keep working. Okay. Let's see if I lift this one up just a little bit. Is that going to make it a little better? All right, let's hope. Okay. Now, we've got our little dark side here. Now that my arm is free, I'm going to go on in here, hopefully make this part go a little bit faster. Okay, so that you can see that we are trying not to get too much pigment. We are slowly but surely trying to make sure we've got some three-dimensionality there. Okay, so our little cone up here. Now, we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to just wet this a little bit so the paper's not so thirsty. So we're doing a little bit of wet on wet technique. And that just means you're adding some water to the paper so that when you add the paint, it doesn't immediately soak in. That's too much water. So now we want a little bit more pigment here. Okay. Now remember, now I might have to add a second coat. Now these are watercolors. Now I'm not being bold and really dipping up in here. I'm going back, getting a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Okay, so we're trying to make sure we've got a little highlight up over there. One thing to make that highlight pop is to make sure there's some darker areas around it. Okay, so I'm not going to let this little bit of red go to waste over here, y'all. Okay, so here we are. All right, so hopefully that's popping a little bit. All right. Now I've rubbed and rubbed and rubbed this paper. Now I need to really stand up because I can't see. So we're going to say this is all smushing out over here. So we want to make this pop a little bit more. So I think the illustration is kind of coming along. Let me get my other light and put that up here so that you can kind of see that the light is shining in this direction. So if you're using crayons, colored pencils, you want to maybe not shade or press so dark in this area. You want to press a little darker along. I'm going to call this the sphere, the dome of the scoop. That'll give it a little bit more believability. And when this dries up here, I think I'm going to take just a little bit of blue. Or, you know what? Let's see if I can do it now with a little bit of purple. A little bit, because this is still wet. Let me get a little bit more. Just to, now see, I probably got too much now. Just to blend in a little bit. I don't know if you can see that getting a little bit, let me see if I can get it over here near this light. And it's hard to see when the reflection of the water is there as well. So we're trying to, all right. So even with a simple coloring book printout, you can have a good time, but still remember some of those art principles. So now, because I know that this brown is a little bit neutral, I'm gonna see if I can pop some of these shadows with a little bit of purple. That'll kind of warm it up a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say warm it up. That'll give it a little bit of, I'm trying to say the word here, it won't come out. That'll give it a little bit of warm and cool, neutral kind of contrast. That's the words I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to hold the light up, trying to be near a light, trying not to put water on my computer. Let me put that light down. So we're doing things a little bit differently. Let's see. All right. So I'm happy with that. Now, if you want to add a nice bright color in the background, feel free, but you don't have to. If you wanted to add maybe some kind of polka dot pattern, you can do that as well. So let's see. Maybe let me clean my brush out. Maybe what I'll do, I'll just go ahead and see about throwing a little bit of yellowness back here to warm it up a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of green grass down here. But we're going to just go in here and get us some nice bright yellow. And you can go along the whole outline. Oh, good gracious. Okay. I'm going back up over here. Oh, my goodness gracious. So sorry about that paint cam, y'all. I'm going right on back up over here to bring in a little bit of sunshine, nice bright light. You don't have to, but I like to paint the background. And I tell the children to paint it. It just helps you tell a more complete story. Okay, so let me get a little bit more water. And I'm crossing my body. Usually I like to have my paint, my water, everything on the same side. But sometimes, especially if you're in a sharing environment, you don't have that luxury. All right, so we're just, I can't see what that looks like. Let me look on the camera and see. That kind of looks like a burst. And I'm just going to go on down here. I'm going to act like this is green grass down here. So I still continue with that wet on wet thinking. I like to give my paper a little bit of a drink of water. Let me show you what happens if not. Let me get a smaller brush. So over here is still dry. Okay. So if I went into the green and let's say, I don't know if you see those little, I don't know if you see those little bitty tiny green marks here. It's going to soak into that paper and it won't lift out so easily. So now I'm going right over it with some water. And I'm so sorry it's not super dark. I'm going right over it with some water. And I'm just going down here just to mess around a little bit. I'm going to go back in here and get a little bit more of this green. Just to mess around. So what I did has disappeared over there. I'm just going around here, just messing around. Okay. So now when this dries, because I mixed a little bit of blue in there, just to play around with a little bit of warm and cool with the yellow. When that dries, it's going to puddle up kind of nicely. So here we are. We're just messing around, throwing some colors back here. And I think what I want to do, because I like to play with warm and cool. I'm going to go right back up in here in this violet and go right in this shadow right here. Because right along with this neutral brown, that will help kind of pop it out. I love to play with colors. Warm and cool just makes your design kind of pop out. I think I'm going to go in here with a little bit of purple back up over here, and definitely right here, because it should be a nice shadow. And remember, the light is shining from the left to the right. So we're going to come on over here with a little bit of, let's make sure it's kind of round. All right. So we've got a little bit of a nice round treat going. So I am hoping that it didn't take too long. Now we could go in here, let it dry, add a few more details, but this is making a statement, and that's okay. So if you'd like this download, I made sure to make sure it was in there for you today. Now I'm going to back this all the way up here. Make sure this is not falling off here. Let me get my watercolors here. Let me go back. Boom, boom, boom. So, hello. I hope you are well. So that is that. We are reconfiguring things up in here. Let me make sure it's not too light over here, but I know I need to make sure it is aimed in this direction. All right, let's see. Let's get close to the camera. There's the light. All right, we probably need to add a little bit more red there, but we made our own brown and we're just messing around in the background. So thank you for popping in. Let's see if we can get our, let me put the board down before I end up knocking things over. Let me see if I can get my YouTube screenshot. Honey, I am super hot right about now. Let's see if that's going to help. Hopefully. Nope, wrong side. We're getting it though. So here we go. So that's our camera. Okay. All right, Apple News. Thank you for bursting up on my screen. Let's see if we can get this over here in front. Tilt, tilt. Ooh wee. Is the art teacher sweating up in here? Yes, she is, y'all. Art teacher hard and hot. All right. So let's see if we can get this going. Oh, okay. Hopefully that's better. So it's not burning out too much. All right. I'm going to crop that down later. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. It just takes less time later. But these are the studio shenanigans. This is Brene Flournoy, art teacher by day, portrait painter by night, paint party instructor, and art kit maker on the weekends. Make sure you get your download. There are a couple other goodies in there. Let me know what else you'd like for summer. I think we got enough in there. I think I'm going to paint each one of those again. So we're starting off first week of summer with our ice cream cone. And I think I'm going to go run out and get me some. Let me know how I can help. Please feel free to join my email list. I'm not sure when my next mini class is going to be, but you know I'm the portrait lady. I love to do portraits. I would love to help you with your proportions and your skin tone. So join my wait list on my website, thepaintedpost.com. Have an amazing rest of your day. Peace to you. Spread a little art joy. Make somebody smile today. Okay? Or whatever your gifting is. If it's singing, cooking, dancing, you know, posting quotes, do you and make sure that you spread your joy. All right. Peace to you. Bye-bye. I am clicking the right buttons. I probably need to still hold this up. We're signing off. Yep, there we go.